So my grandmother is a very special person. She actually kind of raised me when I was younger. We grew up in Czechoslovakia. And then she came here, probably 20 years ago, and so we've spent a lot of time together.
Mom came to America to join our family, and her life was pretty good. She was very active. Matter of fact, she learned how to speak English in her 80s.
She survived the Holocaust. She's had a couple hip replacements. She's had some health issues. But she's about to be 99. And so we're just incredibly excited that we get to spend all this time with her.
And she had pretty good life until she fell. It just went from bad to worse.
As her health started to deteriorate, we thought it made sense to kind of move her here and get a little extra care. I think changing environments at that age can be difficult, but it's been a real blessing. I think she's been at 7 Acres for about 4 or 5 years. She gets to play bingo and there are social activities, and clearly she gets the 24-hour care that she needs.
This is like the best care here, the best really people who are working here, and she got really the best care at 7 Acres, so we are very thankful.
I've been at 7 Acres for 4 years now. I love what I do. I love being a nurse. I love working with the elderly patients. And I think 7 Acres has a good work environment. The residents are easygoing, they're very upbeat. So I like coming in to 7 Acres and talking to them and getting to know them a little bit more. And they're a little, they're elderly, so they have a lot of stories. I like listening to their stories. You have a good support behind. If you need something, you always can run to your supervisor, or for me, the DON, you can always run to them. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons. The work environment is not stressful. So a typical day for me, it's coming in through the front door, filling in my questionnaire, going and taking my temperature. From there, I go and clock in. I have to come back into the room where we put all our PPE on. I have to put on my gown, my face shield. From there, we have a blue line that we cross over to the wolf unit. I have to make sure when I come in, I disinfect everything. So I disinfect the nurse's station, I disinfect my cart, the equipment that I'm gonna be using, like the blood pressure machine, the oximeter. And now it's more like a more strict process, because you have to make sure that between every resident, you have to be disinfecting. So it's taking a little bit longer to finish your job, because you are being so strict about every process that you're having to take. You don't get that close interaction as much anymore, because you have to be cautious that you are coming from outside and you are coming to see them. So you do have to go in there, you still communicate with them and tell them, but it's not the same interaction as we did before. We are wearing our masks, we are wearing our PPE, so most of the time they'll tell me, "And who are you?" So I have to constantly tell them, "Oh, it's Diana." "Oh, okay, it's Diana."
I've been in the Life Enrichment Department at 7 Acres for 11 years, and I'm in charge of the activities for the residents both on and off the units. My job is really unique and special because we really are the ones that connect the families to their loved ones. The last activity that we had was our Alex Deitzer Go Texan Day, and we had that back in March, and then everything changed.
And so when COVID happened, and they had to be really in their room, confined in their room, I think the toughest part for her was the lack of the social interaction.
That's when my nephew, her younger son, who lives in San Francisco, sent her the iPad.
And then we were able to see her, and she was able to see kind of the world outside of her room, which I think was really helpful for her.
My staff and I had to get really creative and figure out what we were going to do, how we were going to keep the residents entertained while they had to be in their rooms. So we came up with things like hallway bingo, hallway happy hour, hallway exercise, and this is where the residents participated in these things, but they were in their doorway, so they were still socially distanced and they could participate.
And so as soon as the window visits were open, we signed up for our slots. and we would come in and I would bring my kids and she would get to see the grandkids as well. And it was great. You know, again, like the iPad, I think lifted her spirits, and then the window visits, I mean, you could see, you know, she was just really happy to see us again and happy, frankly, to come downstairs and get a little bit of a change of scenery.
I think that it was a great idea to do window visit since we could not visit in person, because that really gave us opportunity to see her, to talk to her. So I think that that was really a great idea. It was a big improvement from not seeing her or seeing her on iPad to see her over the window.
The essential care training and visits have really been a godsend. You go through a training program, you learn how to put on PPE, face mask, gown, in addition to having a negative COVID test. And then on a weekly basis, I can come in and I can physically see my grandmother. I could give her a hug, which again, just the ability to, after months and months of not being able to see her, to actually see her in person and to be able to hug her, you know, has been huge. I always marvel at the nurses and the staff that work here. I mean, the nurses here have incredible patience. And so, you know, I think the COVID pandemic really just probably made everything much worse, right? Much harder. And so I can't imagine, you know, the nurses and the staff dealing with COVID and dealing with their lives at home and having to manage the lockdown, and then coming here and having to do it as well.
I honestly believe that 7 Acres and the administration have done everything that they possibly can do. The whole temperature check and, you know, coming in through one door, the fact that we have PPE that we can use, you know, we're keeping people in certain areas so they're not constantly changing like floors, so everything is being controlled. It was very controlled and it was very early on. You know, they were prepared for it already. And I think that helped the staff a lot more than having to rush into getting everything together. So I feel like 7 Acres has done everything they possibly can do to keep everybody safe.
I am so proud of my staff. They have gone above and beyond. Things change so often, and it's such an honor to work here and be able to help the residents. We feel really good about what we're able to do. It's just a great place to work, to all know that we're really an extended family for each other.
We're, you know, extremely thankful for the work of the staff, of the nurses, of the board. You know, I think 7 Acres is incredibly run. And the testament to that is my grandmother. I mean, she's incredibly happy. Every time we see her, she's telling me about the bingo she played, or the songs that they were singing, or the conversation she was having at lunch. And so that to me is the testament that this place is working and is fulfilling its mission.
I would really like to thank the staff of 7 Acres. I know how hard everybody is working, and they are trying to accommodate the residents, even though this is like unprecedented time. Thank you very much to everybody at 7 Acres. You made their life easier under those very difficult circumstances.